Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wondered why I sit there in the beginning of YouTube videos for 1 or 2 seconds? Well, I'm not going to answer that question today, but it's good that we are on the same page and curious about the world. This video is about a game that was sent to me by one of my viewers, subscribers, named Jack. Jack was very brave to submit this game. I mean, truly just unbelievably brave. And this game is really an encapsulation of everything we love, hate, despise, cherish about the game of chess. This was the best, worst game of chess that I have ever seen in my life. You're gonna see what I mean, honestly. Like, we're about to get into the game. You remember the last time that you played a game and you went to the game review section and it told you that you were an idiot? Yeah, today is gonna take that to a whole nother level. Let's jump into the game. Our protagonists are Mustache from Slovenia. I made up where they're from. I just wanted some, I wanted to make the character look interesting. And Jack. So Jack is playing with the black pieces in this game. This was a great game, okay? Yeah, this game had an accuracy of 1. One of these two players had an accuracy of 1. Literally, I'm not joking. It was a game review, and the accuracy was 1.7, 1.6. E4, E5. Just from these two moves, I find it insulting that game review gave these guys, one of them, such a low accuracy, by the way, because it's already very good. Bishop c4, it's a great move. I mean, white is starting the game exactly the way you're supposed to. Black developing. I mean, how can you get an accuracy of 1 if you're playing like this? You're playing like a grandmaster. This is the bishop's opening. By the way, you guys want a fun fact? When this bishop comes out very early, black can play knight f6 and then c6 d5. It's actually one of the bonuses of playing against the bishop's opening. Whereas if white had begun the game with knight f3, then you would have played knight c6 and there wouldn't have been that opportunity. Fun fact, the more you know. Okay, but now white plays queen f3. So yes, I mean, now the 500 is kicking in. White is going for the scholar's mate. The scariest part is you know that white has won games like this. But to be honest, if you want to just be a little bit more clever, you could go to h5 first. Like, the best way to set up the scholar's mate is to play queen h5. So basically, if your opening repertoire is the scholar's mate, queen h5 is the trickiest second move because it also has this as a possibility where you would be winning the black rook in the corner. But okay, bishop c4, queen f3, and I mean, black is just playing like a 2750. All right, now white's best move here is knight e2 because you need to cover knight d4. It's a very strong move, and if black plays very passively, white already can just get a pretty decent position and even attack with the g-pawn. So it's actually very, very decent. Now, d3 is no good because black can immediately jump in knight d4 and force the queen back. Has black watched my video? Yes, actually, black has watched my video. They just didn't pay attention and they forgot it. But thank you for the, ad revenue. Bless you, those of you who contribute and watch videos 12 times because you can't remember because you watch videos without paying attention. You know who you are, all right? I also watch YouTube videos without paying attention, but not if I'm trying to learn something, okay? You ever need, like, computer help? And some random dude from 10,000 miles away is like, hi, thanks for coming to my video. I have 900 views, but here's how you fix your random... Like, you gotta pay attention, guys. Anyway, so far, I'm, like, insulted that black's accuracy is low because black is playing a top-level game. Bishop g5. Once again, the best move here for black is to play knight d4. Like, you need to take advantage of the fact that the queen is here, so you send the queen back. Now you need to absorb this, but in that time, you can win some tempi on the pieces. The knight can always come back. But okay, bishop g5. Black plays h6. I don't hate this move. Now, if bishop takes f6 were to happen, of course you can damage your pawns, but it's better to trade the queen. This is an instructive moment. This position is equal, okay, with the damaged pawns. Why is this position plus 1.3? Do any of you know? Like, what's the difference with the queens being on the board? The difference is that black's queen is extremely passive. So the difference is that the structure is the same, but by leaving my very active piece on the board, this doesn't quite have the same impact. Like, I'm gonna go knight e2 or c3, and you notice already black has difficulties. These pawns are very bad. Your king is never gonna go here because it's gonna walk right into my attack. Right? So it's just kind of an instructive moment there of you need to trade off your opponent's most aggressive piece. Okay, it's like understanding when you're supposed to trade in chess, especially trade queens. When you're under attack or you're very passive, that's the best thing to do. Right now, the engine wants to play g5. It wants to do this to send these pieces packing and then play this incredible move d5, which if it gets taken, bishop g4 is trapping the white queen, which is incredible. So it's a double threat, which is amazing. So does that happen? No, it doesn't happen because black is actually too clever for his own good. He forgets that he has to play g5, and instead he just plays d5 right away. No, he doesn't forget anything, he just blunders a clean pawn. But that's okay. And from this point forward, everything that you know about chess is going to get turned upside down. I hope you're ready. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee because I'm not ready, even though I've seen this game already. Yeah. Just spectacular what's about to happen. Okay, so white takes on d5. Now, the amazing thing is, this is still not winning for white because black still has the move knight d4. But instead of that, for some reason, not understanding that the knight is hanging so I must move it, white remembers like a bird in the back of their head, like, danger levels, and plays the move e4. Now, yes, indeed, that is danger levels because this attacks this, right? So this attacks this. But what about pawn takes pawn? Now you've lost two center pawns and you have all the problems that you used to have. Knight d4 might still be an okay move, but it's not quite the same. Instead of that, for some reason, rather than taking on e4 and a free pawn, white like forgets that, which is a common blind spot among newbies, except white remembered that this could take this, so I have absolutely no idea how then white proceeded to forget that but whatever, they're 500, right? Queen f4, okay, queen f4. Now black is winning. Why is black winning? Well, because you walk directly into a fork. G5 is just a clean fork. You always have to be looking at ways to attack with maximum value. You gotta be, attacking maximum danger. I wouldn't even hate the move knight takes d5 here, which might lead to bishop takes queen, knight takes queen. Okay, I wouldn't mind this either. The reason why knight takes d5 is bad is because this is check. But you have to, you gotta find that. Okay, but for some reason now black plays knight d4. So it wasn't good enough to play knight d4 literally at any point of the opening. Here you could have played knight d4, here you could have played knight d4, you could have played knight d4 anywhere here, but after you get to this position, you decide to play knight d4. Okay, fine, right? I can't control that. Now, white, brilliant, sees that this is hanging and probably plays their best move of the game, which is the move bishop to b3. Except now it's -4. Bishop b3 covers this, but this is still winning a piece. This is winning not just the piece, it's going to win a lot more because, for example, if takes and queen g5, thinking, okay, I'm surviving, rook h5 comes out of the blue, and let's say you move your queen all the way back to d2, knight g4, and apparently black is -7, -6. I don't know. I can't really explain this, but black is actually not up any material. That's actually the incredible thing. The hardest thing as a beginner is to get a position like this and analyze it and say, who's better? Because you look at the material, it's bishop for 3 pawns. It's actually even material, but somehow black is -7. That's very tough to figure out as a beginner. Okay, now after bishop b3, black has, of course, multiple options. Black can take the bishop, black can take the pawn, black can attack the queen, black can attack the queen. Black does, in fact, attack the queen in just about the worst way possible. Black plays knight h5. Now, knight h5 loses, but why? Because if bishop takes queen, there is knight takes queen. I mean, it seems like a logical move. Well, because you need to always look for checks, right? Always. And when you just go knight h5 and you think here, you can't stop there. You got to think, well, what if they don't do that? Do they have anything better? And they do. And actually, white finds the move queen to e5 check, which is a fantastic move. And the point is that now it's this, and it's this. And the queen cannot block because the bishop would take the queen. So the queen blocks. And the bishop takes the... Okay. So it is evident that white never saw this. White just never saw this. White saw this, and then after white went here, white did not want to trade queens, and instead was like, I'm going to win a free pawn, even though that's just a free knight. Which is probably not even a good move, by the way, because I think there's some, there's like, it's not a bad move, but there's still g5 and then discovered attack. Scary stuff. Anyway, queen e4. Okay, so white doesn't want to trade queens. Instead, white wants to win a pawn, and black immediately trades queens. Okay, so it's a queenless middle game. White has up 2 points of material, aka 2 pawns. White has all their pawns. Black has 6. White has 8. And now black plays probably their best move of the game, which is the move short castle. Okay, fine, short castle, great. So white has a couple of options here. Develop this knight to the middle, develop this knight to the middle, or I don't know what I'm talking about, and I don't understand the mind of a 500. Let's develop our knight to the side and immediately lose the game again. Why does that lose the game? Well, because not just looking for checks, you also have to look for captures. And if black plays bishop takes h3, this pawn stops guarding that square, and this is a 2-move combo. Now, seeing this tactic, bishop h3, gh3, knight f3, is very possible if you're doing puzzles. You ever have that feeling like puzzles are much easier? In a live game, it's very hard to spot here, knight f3. But that's why you do puzzles, because you always need to be scanning checks and captures. You just always have to be scanning them, okay? In this position, black absolutely does not find the move and plays the move rook e8, which is not a horrible move, but it's a horrible move according to Game Review because you had a win. Now, white here insists on losing the game by playing the move f3. Once again, throwing the evaluation off of a cliff because for a second time in a row, you have bishop takes h3, g takes h3, and now not only do you lose a bishop, you also lose a pawn. You see, a move ago, this would have just been an empty square. The f-pawn would have survived, but the way you played the position, now there is bishop takes h3. Okay, so what does black do? Black moves the bishop to d7. Okay, I mean, I don't hate it. Now, white needs to finish up development and castle, right? That's what we got to do. We got to play knight d2 because that at least guards f3 from all of this stuff, and then we're going to castle. Hopefully, we don't castle short because then there's going to be this, and we don't want that. So, knight to the side of the board once again. Yes, that's what, yes, very good, yes. You know, it worked over here, it's obviously gonna work over here. Now the eval once again is like minus $1 billion because for the third time in a row, this is just there. But I think we understand that, you know, after knight to a3, black has not seen this, right? Okay, if I gave you like 10 guesses here for black's next move, you would legitimately never figure it out. And every time I say that, you guys are like, oh, it was actually like my first guess. Yeah, don't lie to yourself, okay? Don't lie to yourself. Black has a lot of legal moves here. Basically, everything black can do is legal. Black has no illegal moves. Nothing, like there's no way to get a king in check. So black has a lot of moves. You count all the moves with the pawns, the rooks, the bishop, a lot of moves. Black here, rather than moving any of these beautiful pieces, rather than smashing at the center and trying to open it up, attacking anything, taking anything, taking anything, taking anything, taking anything, black plays the move b6. Which, listen, I'm sure it had some deep diabolical meaning behind it, but I don't know what it is. You couldn't pay me a salary to tell you the reasoning of the move b6. And I don't think you could have actually paid black a salary because after the move long castles, black played the move b5. So what white should be doing here is targeting the pieces in the center with moves like bishop f2, right? Making it very difficult for black to move. Especially, you got to look at pieces where there's not a lot of defense on them, and they are targetable. So, for instance, the move c3 is also not horrible. It's also not a bad move because it kind of forces some pieces off the board, and you maintain a good center. Now, I don't hate white's next move, okay? I don't hate it, and that move is g4. Now, the computer hates it. The computer hates it because it sees that the knight is hanging, but the pawn used to guard this, and if black sees knight takes f3 here, attacking the bishop, black is completely winning because not only does the bishop potentially fall, the knight falls, the bishop falls, and the rook takes the pawn. So the whole white position just disintegrates. And you need to be very careful playing moves like g4. You need to look at the base of your pawn chain, and if the base of your pawn chain is very weak, the rest of your pawns will just disintegrate. It's like when a domino falls. But okay, black plays knight f6. Of course, black doesn't see it, and now the eval goes right back up in black's in white's direction, and again the move bishop f2 is possible. So here, white, rather than playing rook d3, c3, bishop f2, any of these moves, g5 even looks natural, plays knight f4, which is just a really bad move because Another fork has been blundered. I mean, that fork has been blundered like 36 times in this game, despite there only being 17 moves. And yeah, g5 is just winning once again. So black plays the move b4 here, okay? Not finding the move once again, and white has the option between galloping aggressively and triumphantly into the center of the board or undeveloping the knight and suffocating their own king, and naturally, given that this is a game played by a 500, they play the move knight b1. So now black is completely winning once again because you will just very clearly take this pawn, this hangs, this hangs, this hangs, and bishop e3 is almost made and bishop f4. So the whole row here is hanging. The whole row is basically under attack. Knight f3 is just obliterating the game on the spot, okay? And not to mention, you also have g5. Instead of either of those moves taking or attacking anything, black plays bishop b5, which legitimately makes zero sense. I don't understand that move at all. That move doesn't make any sense. It just moves a piece to a square. Literally, that's it. This is why you always need to learn about forcing moves. Bishop b5 doesn't make any sense. White's next move actually is Stockfish's second choice. Knight to d3. The point of knight to d3 is that the pawn is, the knight is attacking the pawn and the bishop. And the bishop, naturally, moves to the wrong square, and white takes a pawn for free. Now, for the 3700th time, knight takes f3 is winning, okay? Well, not winning, but in this case, it's getting black back into the game. And I think there's like some defenses here. You can, yeah, like the only move here is like some knight c3 move, ignoring everything and attacking, whatever. That's never going to be found. But knight takes b4. And so here, black has a couple of options and black plays a horrible one. Black plays bishop to a5. Why is it +7? Because of continuity. That bishop used to defend the knight. And this is why, before you make any move in chess, you need to address what your opponent wants, and then you need to scan the board for checks, captures, and attacks. In this position, white has no checks. And before you make any move defending this knight, you need to go, can I take anything? Oh, I can take that. Oh, I can take that. One is clearly better than the other. Rook takes d4, right? Defending the knight. So you won a knight and you guarded yours. You're completely winning. Which is why you need to look at CCA, forcing moves always, okay? But okay, we understand that white is 500. White is not going to find rook takes knight defending the other knight. But certainly, white's next move can't be that bad. White's obviously going to go here or defend the knight or, you know, something borderline within the realm of making sense. Yep, white finds something that does make sense. White plays knight back to d3, hanging checkmate in 1. 1.7 accuracy for black, 3% accuracy for white.